Okay, great. Welcome everybody to our first webinar of 2021 on electric fireplaces, warm, cozy, clean flames. My name is Joe Wachunas. I'm with Electrify Now, and I'm joined by my teammate Brian Stewart. We will be moderating this event, and we're super excited for our panelists today. Just a little reminder, put your questions and comments in the chat box or Q&A. We'll try to get to as many as we can throughout the webinar, and it's so good to have you all here. Just want to say a quick thanks, of course, as we do every webinar, to all of our Electrify Coalition members. For those of you who don't know, we're approaching 30 members of our group that's supporting, educating and advocating for electrification, nonprofits from the Northwest and California, also trade organizations. So if you would like to, if your organization would like to join the Electrify Coalition, there's no cost. Send us an email. I'll put a link in the chat after the introduction here today. So thank you to all of our coalition members. Google Electrify Now YouTube to watch all of our past episodes. You know, we're doing one a month at least, everything from induction cooking to heat pump water heaters to community solar. These are great educational resources that are there for you to peruse at any time. And of course, we have webinars coming up. Very excited to be talking about some of our clean energy legislation in Oregon in 2 weeks. And then in February, we're going to be talking about renewable hydrogen with some amazing panelists. We'll put links in the chat. And in March, we are going to have an event on carbon sequestration, an entire week devoted to carbon sequestration. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that coming up, but there's an Eventbrite link for that as well. We want to say thanks to everyone who's donated to the Electrify Everyone Fund. You probably saw this when you signed up in Eventbrite. We're asking for donations. These donations all donations go directly to this program of replacing old, inefficient gas hot water heaters with new, really efficient heat pump hot water heaters that run on clean electricity. And we say $20 avoids 1 ton of CO2. All that money stays local here in Portland and helps income qualified folks get a new hot water heater. To date, we've replaced 12 in 2020. We just got this program going. We've raised over $100,000, which is so exciting. $1,000 just in this webinar series alone. We have plans to do 50 at least this year in 2021. And also moving into ductless heat pumps as well as part of this program. So you'll be hearing more about this from us. Okay, now I'll pass it over to my teammate Brian to give a little intro on today's topic.
Thanks, Joe. So obviously we're going to be spending most of the time talking about electric fireplaces today, but obviously if anyone is interested in a fireplace of any kind, the 3 options are wood, gas, and electric. So before we dive in all the really awesome benefits of electric, I want to talk a little bit about the first 2 and why it's important that we're having this conversation. So wood fireplaces, which obviously have been around for a very long time, and there's a romantic appeal to them for sure. But I think more and more we're learning about really the dangerous indoor air pollution that's caused by most fireplaces. I mean, we'll talk about in a minute, there's big differences between how you do it, but in general, all indoor fireplaces are dangerous sources of air pollution. And if you have an indoor air monitor, you'll notice it if you use that. The reason is because they generate a lot of fine particulates. Every time you open the door of even an enclosed one, you're going to get a big waft of smoke, most likely. And even the best ones leak to some degree, but they also create carcinogens, benzene and formaldehyde, which are pretty dangerous substances. So some real health risks indoors. And then there are very significant source of outdoor air pollution, varies from area, but here in Oregon, the DEQ, the Department of Air Quality, talks about residential fireplaces. The burning from residential fireplaces creates a similar outdoor air pollution hazard to one large wildfire every year. So it's not insignificant. And if you live in an area where there's a lot of wood burning, you'll know that it can really change the air quality. And then of course there's safety issues with them because they're hot, they're dirty to clean, and etc. And you have to chop wood. But here's a good example of the differences between them in terms of this fine particulate thing, which is such a big problem. An open fireplace or an outdoor one creates unbelievable amounts of this fine particulate, which is linked to things like lung disease and even dementia. The regular, an old uncertified wood stove is much better than that, but still quite bad. The certified EPA stoves are better, although I've seen a lot of testing recently that says that the difference between these two in practical terms is much less than advertised because of the way people might use green wood or other issues. Pellet stoves are better. Obviously, oil and gas are hundreds of times less in terms of the particulates, and electric fireplaces are not even on this chart because they create zero of these dangerous particulates. So you can see that wood is a problem. I recommend not doing it if you can avoid it. Gas is definitely better from that, from an indoor air pollution standpoint. This still has some of these safety concerns that we will talk about because all these surfaces here can get very hot, which is dangerous if you touch them. But the real reason that we are talking about electric fireplaces versus gas inserts is because of the carbon emission issue. And you'll hear us say this frequently, that 75% of the emissions in the United States come from fossil fuels. About a quarter of it is from burning natural gas for heat. And actually, I think this number we're going to see over the next few years, this number go up significantly. And that's because of the information that we're getting, the much better information we're getting recently about methane leaks. We have satellites now that are able to track this from the sky, and there's just much more information about the real leaking that's happening. And just to give you an idea about this, that we've seen estimates from 1.5 to 5 times greater than what the EPA is estimating at the moment. And the reason why that's important is even at twice what the EPA estimates for leakage, it means that suddenly natural gas is worse than coal. And I think we all know how bad coal is. It's pretty frightening to imagine that it could be true, that we'll learn that natural gas could be worse than coal, and it's not actually better the way we've been thinking about it. This is just one leak that happened in Ohio a few years ago that leaked in 20 days the same amount of methane that leaks in the country of France in a year. So it's pretty significant. And the reason is because unburnt methane is 84 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than 1 unit of CO2. But when you burn it, it becomes less of a problem. So it's this unburnt, the leaking, which is really an issue. But when you figure that we have 500,000 active gas wells in the United States and over 2 million miles of gas pipe, it's not hard to imagine that leaking is going to be more of a problem as we go forward rather than less. So here in Oregon, about 60% of our households use natural gas for heat. So the idea is, how can we get off of that? And of course, furnaces and water heaters are the biggest source of natural gas consumption, but stoves and fireplaces are many times the reason why people like gas. So people love their gas stoves, people like their gas fireplaces, and we hear this. And so what we're trying to do is really show people the great alternatives there are, like induction stoves are way better than gas stoves. Once people realize that, they'll know. And I hope today you'll see why electric fireplaces are really better than gas fireplaces. So this is what we're going to be talking about today: why they're better, the features and benefits of them, how you mount them, aesthetic options. We're going to try to cover everything and get to your questions. If you have any, like Joe said, make sure you put them in the chat. All right, so I want to turn it over at this point to our amazing guest, Anastasia Vankova from Modern Blaze. She founded and is the owner of Modern Blaze. And I love this story that she basically built this company because she was frustrated that she couldn't find what she wanted for her own home, and realized there was really a gap in the market for helping people to find these really good modern products. And I would highly recommend you check out her website. They have not only a really good selection of products, but some really good information about these things, and even way more depth than we'll go into today if you're interested in any of these topics. So Anastasia, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you to take us into really the best part of the presentation here.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I'm here to shed some light on electric fireplaces. And thank you so much for having me. I'm a little nervous, as you can probably tell. But okay, let's dive in. Electric fireplaces. At Modern Blaze, we focus on modern fireplaces and mostly on ventless fireplaces that are good for your home. There are 5 types of ventless fireplaces, and electric fireplaces is one of the types that is gaining more and more popularity. We probably sell most of this type compared to other types, let's say gas, and there is ethanol, there is gel, and then there is water vapor. Out of all of those fireplaces, electric fireplaces are the most popular. And it's for a reason, because they are not affecting your air quality. They're easy, simple to install, and affordable. And we're gonna dive into all of that here in a minute. So what is an electric fireplace? It's not actual fireplace. There is no burning, there is no fire, there is no flames. It's just LED lights creating the effect of the flame, and then there is a heater that creates the heat. You can plug it into the wall or hardwire it in, and it's ready to go. So what about the benefits? The benefits of electric fireplaces start with the cost. They are way more affordable than gas, not only to buy, but also to install, because you don't really need to have this huge remodeling project. You don't need to, cut any walls for venting and the gas lines or anything like that. It can be a DIY project. Some of the models you can simply hang on the wall, and they're very affordable to use. Like you can see electric fireplace in the background here at my house. We run it 24/7. It costs us nothing. It hardly reflects on the electric bill, only because they use LED lights. They don't consume much of electricity, unless of course you use heat. So when you turn on the heat, it may be a little bit more noticeable, just like if you run an electric heater in your house. But we don't really need that function all the time, only when it's maybe like a little chilly in the morning. So this is first. The cost is really, they are winning among any other type of or any other type of fireplace. Electric fireplaces are more affordable. The installation is easy. If you buy, for example, a wall-mounted fireplace, you can hang it on the wall just like a picture or like a flat screen TV. It comes with the brackets and you can simply just put it on. You might need 2 people to lift it up and you're done. They can be recessed into a wall, which is the same process, but you just cut the opening in your wall and you put it in. There is no venting required, like I mentioned earlier, so you don't need to do any duct work or make a chimney in your house.
Installation is simple and easy, perfect for new build or remodel.
Yeah, here's a quick video. You can see how simple it is to install.
Locate the plug on the top of the
and you can hire it out, or you can do it yourself.
Simply cut a hole in any 2x4 wall, locate the plug on the top or side, plug in, recess the unit. Either application can be tackled by any DIYer or building professional.
And here for the recessed installation, they installed the plug. You can also, all recessed fireplaces come hardwired ready. So it's an easy switch and you can just have it like, hardwired without having to install the outlet. We recommend you hire electrician for that, but it's not going to be super expensive either. We get this question a lot, actually. Are electric fireplaces tacky? Do they look real? And, they've come a long way. Electric fireplaces probably have been around for about 10 years, and now they look realistic. Really, really do. If you look, this one is a Dimplex model. It looks a little bit more of, I would compare it to gas flame, maybe. There are, different brands that have different patterns for the flames, but all of them, or not all of them, but a lot of them actually look real. The Dimplex one is a really good example. Another really good brand is Modern Flames. They do have multicolor flames if you want them, but if you set it on just orange, it will look real. getting a little slow. I'm guessing the next slide is talking about, yep, no mess. So yeah, like Brian said earlier, you don't have to prepare, store, and chop wood, or clean up the ashes, or yeah, do any of that fun stuff. It's easy. You just turn it on. There is a button on the fireplace unit. There is a remote, and you can just turn it on with the touch of a button and control it. The air quality is a huge one. Electric fireplaces do not affect your air quality at all. Because there is no combustion, there is no air pollution, there is no carbon monoxide being released into your air, so you don't have to worry about people with asthma, being affected or anything like that. And then, yeah, you don't have to worry about gas leaks. Electric fireplaces are really, really good for zone heating, and we installed this electric fireplace here recently, and we enjoy it. Having in the dining room, it heats up the small room just enough to feel comfortable. And you can control the temperature. It's really, really convenient. As opposed to, we also have a gas fireplace. And even in the Indiana winter, we hardly ever use it, just because it gets too hot. It heats up the entire house almost, and it just, we get hot, we turn it off. With electric, yeah, it's great. And then if you want just a little heat, you don't want to turn up your heat, your main furnace, it's enough, it's perfect. Oh, last point. You can use the flames like I do now without the heat, so it doesn't get too hot. Yeah, the electric fireplaces are safe for your children, your pets, because there is no real fire. You don't have to worry about the little ones sticking their hands in the fire, or your pets, burning their fur. They stay cool to the touch. Like my little ones always touch the surface, no problem at all. There is no maintenance. Once you have the electric fireplace installed, you don't have to do anything else. Maybe dust and wipe those little fingerprints off the surface, but that's it. Okay, let's talk about basic features of electric fireplaces now. When you order an electric fireplace, here's what basically comes in the box. It will differ a little bit model by model, but you will get the actual unit. It will be a plug-in or a direct wire or hardwire. Some of the models are hardwire only, the ones that I'm going to the wall. Then there will be usually remote control. There will be different kinds of media. That's your glass pieces or wood, like wood-looking logs, pebbles, rocks, or anything like that for decoration that you can put in front of the flame to create your own style. Multicolor flame is basically a standard option now with electric fireplaces. You can choose to change the flame color to purple, orange, pink, whatever you want. You can choose to keep it on the natural orange, yellow color if you prefer the realistic look. And you can adjust the brightness if you can adjust the brightness as well, make it a little bit dimmer for the nighttime. The heat is on demand. So electric fireplace has independent heater in them. Most models. There are some that don't have heat at all. And that's usually actually for an outdoor installation because there is just not enough heat to heat up the outdoor area with like wind and just usually larger areas. So it makes sense to cut on cost and not have a heater at all. And usually people would just use those overhead, like in this picture, they would use an independent like infrared heater. But just in general, electric fireplaces have on-demand controllable heat. So you can turn it on or turn it off and still use the flame, even in the summer when it's hot. And you can control the temperature. I'm ready for the next one, Brian. Now, some of the popular additional features include the thermostat, built-in thermostat, sleep timer, in case you fall asleep on the couch and you don't want your fireplace to run all night. Wi-Fi and smart home connect is a really popular feature this year. More and more manufacturers are coming out with that. So you can say, Alexa, turn on the fireplace, or you can be away from home and still like control your fireplace with an app. So that's pretty cool. And some of the features are kind of funny, I think, like Bluetooth audio speakers. This is actually a pretty popular one. We have a manufacturer that makes those. Touchstone Audio Flare is a popular fireplace with the speakers, so you can have a fire and play your favorite music. A few types. Here are the types of electric fireplaces when it comes to installation options. So we have, wall mounted, like we talked about earlier. You can just hang it on the wall like a picture. There is nothing required. Brackets are included. They are attached to the back, and you just like hang it. Very easy DIY project. And we have built-in or recessed. So you have to make an opening in the wall and insert it in. It's, obviously a more finished look. There are some frameless options. You can have your, the flame going from edge to edge and have any finish around it. You will need some carpentry skills or hire a carpenter to make that installation. Usually you will also need to hire a certified electrician to do that. You can also do partial recess, and with that, you will definitely fit it into a 2x4 wall or a built out. That's also popular to build out, more of like a mental type of, three-sided fireplaces are also very popular. It's a type of recessed fireplaces, and they have three sides that you can have open, but you don't have to. It's optional. So you can actually enclose the whole thing and just enjoy the deeper flames, and they look more realistic. Or have like one corner open for a corner fireplace. And some models even are wall mounted. So you can have it, just hang it on the wall, just like I was talking earlier, and it will have shelving on top and in the bottom, and also be able to see from all the three sides. Two-sided fireplaces. Actually, this is a category of one. There is only one fireplace, Napoleon Clerion, and nobody is able to come up with another one. So we have one, but it's pretty awesome. I have seen it at the trade show. It looks like gas, I would say. And the cool thing about it is if you install it between the two rooms, you can have separate temperature controls in each room. And you can have a privacy curtain. So like if you don't want people to see through it, you can push a button, it will turn opaque so you can't see it. Inserts. Those have been really popular among people who are converting their gas or wood fireplaces into electric. And there are two types of inserts. It's a firebox. That's what you see here. It's like the entire box that gets put into the hearth. And then you have lock set, electric lock set, which is just the lock set, and you plug it in and put it in the in your fireplace opening. The challenge with lock sets is that you'll have to hide the plug somewhere. It's not all like a cord. We have one insert that we have been selling a lot of, and it's the only one that has an option to use a lithium battery. And so you basically just recharge it with the battery in, and you don't need to have any cords at all. And we have been getting really good feedback on that. And that's Modern Flames Sunset Charred Oak. And it's also, it has Wi-Fi. It can be controlled with an app. Freestanding. Freestanding units are pretty self-explanatory. They can just be put anywhere you want and simply plugged in, just like your electric heater. You can have some electric fireplaces come with mental packages. That's what we kind of call them. And that's what you see here in the picture. It can be as simple as just a mantle, or it can be something more complicated like a TV stand or a media console. Those are really popular as well if you're looking for a furniture piece for your house and would like to incorporate a fireplace in it. Here are some common questions that we get a lot about electric fireplaces. Is the flame real? If you listen to my presentation, you know that the flame is not real. It's LED lights, and it's basically just rotating mirrors that create that realistic, chaotic flame, pattern that looks like real flame. And it's also a heater, so there's two components to it. Do they produce heat? Yes, the electric fireplaces that come with a heater, they produce heat, and it's 99% of them. And the heat can be set on low, medium, and high, or on the temperature, like the actual temperature you wanted to maintain, because most of them have thermostats built in. Or you can disable it and just use the flame. Just push a button. Do you need to vent an electric fireplace? No, no venting is required because there is no actual combustion, there is no flame, no smoke, no dangerous fumes. How much space do they heat? Yep, typically 400 to 500 square feet. That would be your majority of fireplaces. And then there are some models that can heat up to 1,000 square feet. Those are usually hardwired models, and you would have to hardwire them into 240 volt electric line. Can you install them near TV? Absolutely. They're actually safer than any other kind of electric or any other kind of fireplace because they don't produce huge amounts of heat. Just enough heat to heat up the room, but nothing crazy to damage the TV. You still have to maintain a safe, it just depends on the model, but usually about 1 to 2 feet safe distance from the TV. But yes, they are absolutely safe to install in a situation like this under TV. Can you install them outside? Yes, there are some outdoor rated electric fireplaces that they have special wiring that can withstand the moist environments outside. Usually those come without heat. Electrical requirements, you will need a dedicated, it's best to put it on a dedicated circuit so you don't trip the breaker all the time. I think the recommendation is 15 amps or more. And then most of them can be just plugged into like a regular household outlet, and easy conversion to hardwire. It comes with a kit. Some come hardwired, and yeah, you just need an electrician to install the hardwired units. Where do I buy? Well, you could try to find an electric fireplace in your local showroom, but just from our experience, customers have been having troubles finding those on display. Online is your best bet, and I think everybody, all online retailers and Modern Blaze, we're doing our best to collect videos from our customers so that you can see exactly what the fireplace looks like. We have a YouTube channel. We share pictures and videos from customers on social media, on our website. Everything is available so that, videos basically is the best way to see them in person and then purchase online.
Yeah, I'll jump in a little bit on that one too, because I think we're at the end of our presentation here anyway. But from my experience, there are very few showrooms that have a good selection, and even so, as Asia said, there's so many options now. You're never going to be able to see them all in one showroom. So I can see why online sales, that's how I bought mine. I can see why that's the best way to go. And the videos really are pretty good. You're going to be able to see videos of pretty much every model that's out there, which will give you a pretty good idea about what it looks like. I think that's it. I again want to give a big thank you to Anastasia and again, check out Modern Blaze. They have a really amazing selection and really good materials to help you make your decisions. And yeah, let's turn it over to the Q&A. Joe, how are we doing on questions?
Yeah, they're poured in, Anastasia. So let's get to some.
Okay.
We've got one that says, I have a gas fireplace. Is it expensive to convert it to electric? Maybe walk.
You will have to take it. I mean, it just depends what kind of gas fireplace you have. It's not expensive to convert it in like you can just buy an electric insert and put it in. I don't know if you want, you know, to like any parts of the gas been taken out, or you're okay to leave it as is. If you're okay to leave it as is, you just buy an insert, plug it in. I mean, it will probably cost you, if you get like just a log insert, it will be $500 or something. If it's a firebox, it will run around 1,200, I would guess.
Yeah, you know, that's my situation in our house. We have an older house, and it was originally an open fireplace. Then when we bought it, it had a wood stove in it. And we took the wood stove out and put a gas fireplace insert in. And then a couple of years ago, we took the gas fireplace insert out and put an electric one in. In my experience, it was really easy to take the gas one out because the, you know, you have to disconnect the gas, but they're all going to have a, you know, a valve where you disconnect it. I did it myself and pulled it out, and then put a new one, a freestanding unit into the fireplace. So I did it all myself, and I used the line that was in the fireplace that was the feed for the gas. I used that same line to get electricity back there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you know, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different in every situation, but it's not dramatically difficult to swap them out. And I can tell you, I'm so glad I did for all the reasons that Anastasia said. And one of them being that every time we turned our gas fireplace insert on, the room became almost too hot to be in after a while. So we really like the fact that you can control the temperature much better with the electric.
Great.
Absolutely.
So a couple questions on fans. Some folks are asking, do they have fans to circulate heat, and how much noise these fans would make?
They do have fans. They make some noise. Not enough to bother. Let me see if I can maybe try to like turn this one on.
We do love live demonstrations here at Electrify.
Let's just see if it works, or if you guys can hear it. I'm near it right now. This is a high setting, so can you hear it through my headphones?
No.
So basically, it sounds like an electric heater when you turn it on. That's kind of what it sounds like. So it's really not bothersome.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, if you have a gas fireplace insert, they have fans too, typically, to help distribute the heat. So it's similar, or maybe even possibly even quieter than those, because some of those can be pretty big.
Cool. One person asked if you can use extension cords, and I know from reading your website that is not recommended.
Not recommended, no.
Okay. Great. Another person, an electrical question. I want to replace my wood burning insert, but my electrical panel is full. I can't dedicate a circuit only to an electric fireplace. Do I have any options? And what about cost?
No, I'm not an electrician, so I really cannot answer that. But you do want to have it on a dedicated circuit, because otherwise you will be, you know, it will trip the breaker.
Okay.
I mean, unless you have something that you don't really use all the time, like I don't know, some random plugs on that circuit that you don't use, then you can share it. But it's more of the concern that you were overloaded.
Yeah, I mean, it could be if you have some, you know, like a few LED light bulbs on that same circuit, you might get away with it because that's low draw. But if you have any other appliance, or if you plug a vacuum cleaner in, or if you have a toaster or something,
yeah,
that definitely.
And it's more of like when you use the heat, because that's when most of the energy is being consumed. So if it's just the LED lights, then you might be able to get away with it.
And this is going to be bad because we're all not electricians. So
exactly. So no advice, like no electrical advice here. You need to consult with a certified electrician.
I'm in a similar state, and I'm actually buying one for my house. I'm really excited about these. And my electrical panel is full. I know you can double up circuits on one where they're not on the same circuit, but they're smaller. So talk to your electrician. There's usually a lot of options to do that. Okay, let's see here. What's the lifespan of an electric fireplace?
Haven't had that question before. I think it's the lifespan of the LED bulb, and then it can still be extended because you can replace those. You know, I don't really know the answer to that.
Probably a good thing with electric cars.
Probably.
How long do they last? Well, forever. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't had. See, the information I have is really coming from the manufacturers. So I haven't really had that information from them, and it's probably more of a claim that they don't want to make. But they work. We've been in business since 2014. We haven't had customers coming to us saying, oh, it's been 6 years and my fireplace stopped working. So what I can tell you that it's at least 6 years or more.
What's the typical warranties that come with them? Do they, I haven't.
Standard warranty is 1 year. Some manufacturers offer 2 years. We also sell extended warranties on our website. You can get like on top of the manufacturers, you can get extra 2-3 years if you want, and it's a replacement warranty. Basically, if something happens, you just get the new unit.
Cool.
Someone's asking about the efficiency of heating versus other wall Cadet electric heat sources. I mean, in general, this is an electric resistance heating element that's in these units. So it's basically the same efficiency. Typically, they're right about efficiency of 1. So they would be very similar to the efficiency of a Cadet, but what might be different is how much heat they create, so because some Cadet heaters can put out a real ton of heat, and I'm not, so I think I don't know exactly how they compare that way, but from efficiency standpoint, they're the same, but.
The claims that we have been saying is that they are 99% efficient. There is no, I have not seen like any tests or verifications of that, but that's the claims that manufacturers make.
Yep. Some of those Cadet heaters need to be on like on a 20 or 30 amp circuit, which means that they would put a lot of heat, and these are not.
These are not. This is fan force coil heaters. Some of them are ceramic heaters, but they're not like that. No.
Yep.
So a couple folks are asking, where we can see one in person here locally in the Northwest. I'll put a link to a place I went called ADCO. They have a couple where you can see live in person. And then someone says, well, if we order online and we want somebody to install it, how do we find a professional to install it, Anastasia?
It's basically like a handyman, and if it's a hardwire, then you need a certified electrician. Make sure that that handyman is a certified electrician. There are services like Angie's List, Handy, or just your local, Google search for a contractor.
Yeah, I've noticed too that some of the local fireplace shops will have contractors that they work with that are separate from their own operations. So basically, sometimes you can look on those websites and you'll find the name and phone number for a handyman who specializes in this kind of work. That's another place to look.
Thank you.
Brian, somebody's asking about the model that you bought.
We have a Dimplex Multi-Fire, I think it's called, Multi-Fire X. Is that the name of it, Anastasia?
Yes, Multi-Fire.
Fire, yeah. I think it's one of their real popular models. It comes in a bunch of different sizes. The one that we have is kind of meant to really, it's not a wall mounted, it's really meant to be a fireplace insert type of thing. So we have it in our, in our our fireplace. We love it. I mean, it's insanely mesmerizing, you know, just the way gas fires or real fires are. You can stare at it for hours. We've had people in who, you know, we've had them over and they were shocked to find out that it was electric. They just assumed it was gas. The one that we have looks most like a gas fire. And yeah, we're really happy with it.
Did you have to do any extra trim around it, or did everything fit just right?
Everything, well, in our case, you know, it's in an open fireplace, so it's just sitting in there. I built a little pedestal for it to sit on, so it has a black surround, just sits in there, and I put it on a black pedestal, and it looks great. You know, someday I might build more of a finished surround around it, like you would see with typical fireplace insert. But at the moment, I didn't even do that. I can just see back into the fireplace, and it looks good.
Nice.
Here's a really great question. Maybe you could talk about these types. In order to get the most realistic looking flame, do you recommend the latest vapor along with the flame? Tell us about those types of electric fireplaces.
Yeah, that's the latest one, the water vapor fireplaces. They have been really popular and they do look very realistic. It's a little bit different. I mean, they are different from what you see like regular electric fireplaces. They basically use water to create a mist, and then there are LED lights installed at the bottom, and the LED lights reflect off the mist to create this illusion of a three-dimensional flame and smoke, kind of. And then you can also place logs on top of it, so it looks like it's a real flame coming from the logs. I love them. They look great. I've seen them in person. Definitely recommend. It is a slightly higher price point. It is a little bit more involved when it comes to installation. Here, it's more of like a plug and play. On the water vapor side, you still have to, you know, I guess if you don't run the water line, then you'll find it's also like electric.
In that
you
case,
can just
you have a little storage tank you fill with water. Is that how those work?
Yeah, so they have a container. You can just refill it with water. It will last you about, I think, 15, 17 hours, something along those lines. Then you refill it again. Or you can connect it. There is a plumbing kit, and you can connect it to a water supply. So you don't have to refill it. And then just
that would be
runs
kind of
all
like
the time.
the way your ice maker is connected on your refrigerator.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, so those are great. Right now there are only two brands, Dimplex Optimist and then Fire Water. Both are great. I saw them in person. I really like the Fire Water for the thickness of the flame, and then it has multicolor option. But Optimist looks very real.
Cool. Someone just wanted to know what is the model on display in your living room?
This is the one, so Modern Blaze just came out with the Fireplace. This is ours, and it's Modern Blaze MB50. And right now I have it on orange flame, and there is, I think, 9 color options. And we have glass in it, but you can also put logs to make it, you know, more traditional.
Great.
Someone was asking, is there a heat pump option for these? And I haven't seen one. I doubt it. That would be quite expensive, I think. But I think it's safe to say that, you know, this is an example where resistance heat actually kind of makes sense, because you're not going to be using it a lot. You know, like resistance heat as a main source of heat to heat your entire home is expensive and not a good idea. I mean, like heat pumps way better for that. But for this, because it's, you know, you typically don't use the heat that much, resistance, it's not that bad in terms of a cost. And so, yeah, it's pretty good use of electric resistance technology, to be honest.
Is there a, sorry, Anastasia, did you have any comment to that before I go to the next question?
Nope.
Okay. Someone says they use their fireplace to dry out the house because it's humid here in the Northwest in winters. Are there any models with humidity control? You know.
I'm guessing the question is for the water vapor fireplace, because there is no humidity for associated with just electric fireplace. On the Dimplex,
Okay.
on the Dimplex side of things, they claim that it's not enough humidity to affect the air, the air quality. There is no humidity. Well, the system, the way it's built, and that's from their explanation, is that it takes humidity from the air and puts it back into the container, basically, to recycle it, kind of. But there is no such thing as a humidity control, as far as I know, in any of the models so far.
Yeah, I think the other part of that question might be about, trying to dry out your room. I mean, in general, any kind of a heat source, a gas fireplace or a electric Cadet heater is going to dehumidify a little bit, because basically what it's doing is creating this very hot air that moves around and typically will dehumidify a little bit. But so I would expect that in general, the answer to your question would be yes, it would dry out the room a little bit if you have a damp. But
yeah.
it's not maybe the same as a dehumidifier, I'm not sure, but it would have some of that same effect. Yeah.
For dehumidifying, just get a dehumidifier from Amazon. $20.
There we go. Great. Someone's asking about tax incentives for electric fireplaces. I haven't seen any in my research. Do you know any? Okay. I think, folks, that they're already so low priced that it's hard to incentivize them anymore.
There's a question.
We're just hoping that prices are not going to go up with the craziness that we're all in now.
There's a question about, Janet asked, we have an unused built-in wood fireplace. Does the electric outlet have to be outside the fireplace, or can it be inside so there's no visible cords? In my situation, this is kind of my situation, and what to install the gas fireplace, the guy drilled a hole in the bricks inside of our wood fireplace, like down towards the bottom where you couldn't really see it. And the hole went down into our basement. There's a long channel through all that masonry. And then they fed the gas line up through that hole. So I basically used that same hole that they drilled in order to put the electric line through. I just put an extension cord through. Basically, well, it's not really an extension cord, but it's like a piece of cable that went through there. And so it can be done. I guess it depends a little bit on where you have the hole has to come out somewhere. So if you have a basement, most likely that solution would work for you. But yeah.
Or you can just use the log insert that I mentioned earlier that has the battery, so you don't have to have it plugged in.
Yep.
How about any smell associated with the heating stages?
No smell.
Yeah, I didn't think so. A lot of folks are asking where they can see one in California and Portland.
I know, and I happen to
in
know
hotels sometimes.
If you're in Sonoma, if you're around Sonoma, there's a very good fireplace store in Sonoma. I can't remember the name of it, that has a decent selection of them. But I happen to know that because when I was trying to find, like see these things, many years ago when there wasn't a good website like Anastasia's Modern Blaze available, I was trying to find one, and I happened to be down there and I saw one there. But yeah, I think you'd have to Google it.
Yeah, a lot of times you can find them in hotels, in restaurants. We get a lot of those installed. So like I was just traveling across country and I've seen an electric fireplace in almost every Marriott lobby. So
nice. Someone says they tend to have a very modern look. Do they look out of place in an older traditional home?
There are two different types. So this one is a modern linear kind of look, but then there is also what Brian has, more of like a firebox, traditional style. And it will have logs in, it will look like a gas or wood fireplace. So yeah, for a traditional home, it's perfect.
Yeah, I would say just in general, you have the same variety of options in terms of aesthetics with the electric one as you do with gas. Very similar. I mean, you can make it look very modern, like with glass bricks, or we use rocks in ours, or you can make it look very traditional with grates and fake logs and stuff like that. I mean, they are fake logs. I mean, let's be honest, but so are gas fireplaces. Those are fake too.
Exactly.
Would burn up. So it's basically that the logs are very similar to what you would see with a gas fireplace. Wouldn't you say, Anastasia?
Yes, and for example, Modern Flames, that's the electric fireplace manufacturer, they make very, very realistic looking logs if you're into that kind of aesthetics. They are like hand painted, and the actual like log is modeled after a real log, like they make molds.
Great.
And they're glowing from the inside. It's really pretty.
Someone's asking, can they make these infrared and silent so you don't have to have that?
I hope there were more options. Back in the day, we were working with a brand that had the infrared option. They are not around anymore for whatever reason. But yeah, for some reason, this is kind of a standard in the fan forced electric heater or ceramic. Ceramic is a little bit more quiet and more powerful, so that's kind of an upgrade. But then yes, infrared would be ideal. I think maybe the glow is why they're not doing it. I'm not sure.
Tell us about the ceramic heaters. We're finishing up.
So the ceramic heaters will heat up a bit larger room, so they will produce more heat. They have a capacity to do that if you hardwire them into 240 volts. And yeah, so those are just more powerful when it comes to heat.
I see this question about are there any that come with crackling sound effects? That's an interesting question. Have you heard that?
Yes. So just off the top of my head, I think Dimplex has some models that come with the crackling sound. Most of them don't have that. Water Vapor, Dimplex, Optimist, they do. Let's see, and maybe some of the regular electrics, I will have to look. For some reason, this is not a very popular option, but we do get this question every once in a while. There is also, if you are into the crackling sound, you can buy like a little accessory for $15 that makes that sound on Amazon. We should probably sell those too.
I'm sure there's an iPhone app for that.
Right.
Well, how are we doing here? Do you see any other questions that we haven't covered?
Well, I think we've covered most of them here. We've got a lot of great questions. I think we have covered most everything. Anastasia, you did want to tell about a deal that you had created for this webinar?
Oh yeah. For your guys' audience for this webinar, we have a deal on electric fireplaces, and it's an evergreen coupon code. So whenever you're ready, you can use it, and it's Electrify, just like the name of the website, the name of your company, Electrify Now. It's Electrify, and you will just check out with an electric fireplace on our website. It will give you 10% off.
Oh, thank you. That's very generous. I see there's a few questions about some of the particulars of the presentation. I'll just remind you, we are going to be posting this presentation. All of you who here will get links to the video that we're taking, but also we'll have links to the actual PDF of the document, so you can get it. I know there's some questions about some of the graphs and things. So we'll make that available.
Great. Well, sounds good. Well, we want to say thanks so much to our fantastic panelist, Anastasia. Thank you all for being here. Please check out our future webinars. Go to electrifynow.net and see our upcoming webinars. Again, I'll follow up with an email tomorrow with our video plus the slides from today, and a reminder about the coupon Electrify.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, Anastasia. That's very generous of you. And
yeah,
my pleasure.
And as we say at the end of every webinar, good luck with your electrification home projects. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you hopefully in 2 weeks for another great webinar. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.